You just opened a bag of chips, and the emptiness inside feels like a personal insult. It's not just a snack. It's a symbol of your paycheck shrinking while prices balloon. Who's really to blame for this feeling of being cheated? Welcome to Winds of Thought. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the silent price hike you never see coming. We've all felt the sting at the checkout counter. The price tag looks familiar, but what you get for it isn't. This phenomenon even has a name: shrinkflation. It's the art of selling you less for the same price. A magic trick where the rabbit disappears and your money follows. But is this just companies struggling to survive? Or is there a more calculated game being played with your wallet? Let's start with the basics. The classic definition of shrinkflation is reducing a product's quantity or size while its price stays put. Think about tissues. A box might quietly drop from 65 sheets to 60. It seems trivial, right? But when you're a corporation moving millions of units, those tiny reductions add up to mountains of saved cash. Toilet paper is another prime suspect. Over decades, the number of sheets per roll has plummeted, and the sheets themselves have gotten smaller. So, is this a new aggressive strategy, or have we simply been asleep at the wheel for generations? The truth is, this tactic has been used on and off for over half a century. When supply chains tighten or raw material costs spike, it's a way for businesses to protect their often razor-thin profit margins. On the surface, that sounds almost reasonable, but something has changed. The subtlety is gone. Today, the downsizing feels brazen, almost mocking. The reason it often goes unnoticed lies in a quirk of human psychology called the just noticeable difference. Our brains aren't wired to detect small changes. For a shift in weight to be perceptible on a bag of snacks, it has to drop by a significant percentage, often around 13%. Shrinkflation expertly operates just below that radar. And now, with the power of the internet, we're documenting this in real time, and some examples are just absurd. Imagine buying a pack of candy to find only 3 pieces inside. It feels less like a purchase and more like a joke. So, what's the corporate defense? The official line often points one finger squarely at inflation. Let's explore that angle. The economic response to the global pandemic was historic. In the United States, for instance, a massive wave of money printing flooded the economy. Companies argue they were caught between rising costs and the need to keep prices stable for consumers. A spokesperson for a major snack company once said they took a little from the bag so you could keep enjoying your chips at a familiar cost. There was a real surge in consumer demand when economies reopened. People were spending, and supply was struggling to catch up. In this light, adjusting product size seems like a logical, if unfortunate, reaction. But here's where the story gets complicated, and where the data starts to tell a very different tale. Because when you track the numbers, a strange pattern emerges. The rate at which products are shrinking has, in many cases, dramatically outpaced the actual rate of inflation. Take orange juice. A common carton has dropped from 52 ounces to 46. Or drink mixes. It's going from 6 packets to 4. The reductions are rapid and persistent, hinting that something beyond mere survival is at play. This brings us to the other side of the argument, the consumer side. Now, let's be clear. Businesses need to make a profit. That's not the issue. The issue emerges when the period of crisis passes, but the excuses and the shrinking do not. Even after the peak of inflation began to recede, prices kept climbing and package sizes kept dwindling. You're not just paying for inflation, you're funding a profit surge. Look at the numbers. Between 2019 and 2023, the volume of everyday goods like milk, eggs, and cereal dropped by 2% to 14%. Yet, their prices skyrocketed by 30%, 40%, even 50% or more. Economists have started to call this greedflation. It's the idea that some companies are using economic turmoil as a cover to push prices and their profit margins further than necessary. One analysis from a US think tank put it in stark terms. While consumer prices rose 3.4% in a year, the input costs for producers only went up 1%. The rest, that extra 2.4%, was pure margin expansion. And this isn't just an American story, it's a global one, from the UK to Australia, where corporate profits have soared to unprecedented levels. But the corporate playbook doesn't stop at shrinking sizes. There's a cousin to shrinkflation, known as skimpflation. This is when companies secretly swap quality ingredients for cheaper alternatives. A classic historical example is a famous soda brand switching from cane sugar to much cheaper high-fructose corn syrup. You've probably noticed your favorite products don't quite taste the same anymore. Now you know one of the reasons why. So, what's being done about it? Are governments just standing by? Some are starting to fight back. Countries like Australia and South Korea are introducing policies to name, shame, and fine companies that shrink products without clear communication. They want to give shoppers the power to spot the ripoff. However, the fines can be laughably small compared to the potential profits. And legislation in other countries often stalls before it can even be voted on. Corporations, when faced with regulation, have a history of getting creative. The core of the problem is deep. Our currency itself is gradually losing value over time, a process called erosion, but that's a slow background force. Shrinkflation is the symptom, but a changing currency is the disease. The rapid, disproportionate shrinking and price hikes we see today point to a more immediate human factor: opportunism. So, where does this end? One cynical possibility is that brands will eventually reintroduce the original, larger size as a new jumbo version and charge a premium for it. We could end up paying double for what was once the standard. The ultimate power, however, still lies with us. When we become aware and vocal, the market is forced to listen. Consumer advocacy groups suggest practical steps. Compare unit prices diligently. Stock up during genuine sales and use technology to find rebates. Most importantly, speak with your wallet. If enough people refuse to pay inflated prices for shrunken goods, companies will be forced to reconsider. They risk permanent damage to their brand's reputation. Your awareness is the first and most powerful line of defense. Inflation did cause real problems, but the data shows that corporate profit strategies have played a significant and lasting role in why you're getting less for more. It's a cycle witnessed across the developed world. But as frustration grows, opportunity blossoms. This is the perfect moment for honest brands offering fair value to emerge and win your loyalty. There is still hope for a fairer market. That's our perspective here at Winds of Thought. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the most blatant example of shrinkflation you've personally encountered recently? Let's compare notes in the comments. If this breakdown gave you some clarity, hitting the like button truly helps our channel grow. Thanks for watching Winds of Thought. Stay curious.